young women are faced with various ideas of freedom from the internet. On the other hand, that freedom may be false freedom. After all, various new terms have emerged in this digital era, such as friends with benefits, casual sex, relationship without status, and others. In my observation as the one to study psychology and gender studies, this news of relating, new ways of relating bring more vulnerability to women. It can be mentioned, among others, vulnerability to becoming victim of sexual violence, unwanted pregnancy, stigma from society, as well as in experiencing inner turmoil such as confusion, emptiness, guilt, shame, and even loss of self. Mental health issues are increasingly experienced and yet stigmatized, with few accessible resources for mental health care. Other challenges to the youth and especially young women are unrealistic beauty standards and the pressure to have a perfect life. The constant comparisons, online harassment, and digital fatigue can lead to heightened anxiety, depression, and even social isolation. To address the growing challenge, we need to invest in research that explores the specific ways digitalization is affecting the youth, particularly young women's mental health. Participatory research approaches and methods are particularly valuable to help us understand how the youth and young women experience the pressure of digital life, how it affects their self image, and how they cope with these challenges. Moreover, the approaches are relevant when we aim to engage participants to be actively involved in the research process. So, these approaches can be used for data collection and also serve as interventions, empowering participants by giving them a voice and encouraging reflection, skill building, and community development. Some methods, from the very classic ones, such as interview and FGD, to the more contemporary ones, such as photo voice, community mapping, and narrative approaches, might be relevant. They can be conducted complete offline or by combining offline and online approaches. The existing approaches might build new skills and resilience, such as critical thinking, self expression, and leadership. And these skills can contribute to long term resilience and capacity building within the community. As digitalization reshapes the lives of young women, interventions must focus on digital literacy, mental health support, and safe online spaces. This intervention must be culturally appropriate and responsive to the specific needs of young women in particular and the youth in general. Promoting digital literacy and safety. There is a need for digital literacy programs that teach the youth not only how to use technology, but also how to protect themselves from online threats. Mental health support services. Given the rising mental health challenges among the youth, there is a need for more accessible and culturally sensitive mental health support. More work is needed to ensure that services are available and non-stigmatizing. Community mapping is particularly helpful for understanding spatial dynamics and social issues within a community. Meanwhile, community based mental health interventions can be tailored to the needs of the youth. These programs could focus on peer support networks, where young women and the youth in general can share their experiences and receive emotional support in a safe, judgment free environment. One of the pressing issues young women face today is the need to balance their online and offline lives. To protect their mental health, young women need support in developing healthy boundaries between their online and offline worlds. This means teaching them how to manage their time online effectively, recognize harmful digital behaviors, and build emotional resilience. It also requires helping them foster strong online, sorry, foster strong offline connections, maintain physical health, and engage in activities that provide real world fulfillment. If needed, we can conduct support groups or workshops with different themes, campaigns, or mindfulness practices to help reduce dependence on social media. A key aspect of community-based programs is promoting offline engagement to foster deeper real-life connection, which can serve as a counterbalance to the more superficial connections online. And examples of activities include clubs or hobby groups, volunteers, or civic engagement projects to develop leadership skills and real world connections, and also creating a network of mentors within the community can be a good way to inspire young women. What we certainly do not forget are the issues that are typical of young women in the digital era, including how to develop a healthy and realistic concept of the body, to develop healthy and respectful intimate and sexual relationships, and how to ensure safe and healthy use of the internet. Research that is also an intervention can ultimately build resilience among young women, helping them navigate the digital world in a healthy way, also open new insights on how to utilize technology for self development and to build healthy gender relations in the environment. Of course, research and intervention can also be conducted separately. However, research that is also an intervention when conducted carefully and with a good plan can also build new knowledge, concepts, and theories about gender construction and how to build resilience in the digital era. Once again, I am very delighted to be able to join the celebration to mark 10 years of the Office of Gender Concerns of the of this university. I wish you all the best toward gender equality in the inclusive and transformative society. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christie, for that empowering presentation. Indeed, we all encounter unique pressures in the digital era, and affects specifically one's mental well being. And with this, we should be more explorative when it comes to approaches and interventions. Now, to continue, our next two speakers are grantees of UPOU's Gender Focused Research Grant, or GFRG, where it strengthens UPOU's commitment to gender mainstreaming by encouraging the conduct of research with the end goal of upholding equality and development among people of all genders, and especially promoting women's human rights and welfare. It is open to all UPOU faculty members, administrative staff, and research extension professional staff or reps. Without further ado, let us welcome our second speaker, Dr. Rita C. Ramos. She holds a master's degree in nursing from the University of the Philippines, Manila, as well as a doctoral degree in educational research, evaluation, and measurement at De La Salle University. She is also a project leader with research projects that focus on establishing efficient telemedicine technology in hospitals, and learning management systems for nursing institutions. Research interests include developing technological advances in palliative care and education in healthcare. Assistant Prof. Ramos has also published notable articles on education related studies, such as self regulated learning and augmented reality in nursing education throughout her career. She also worked as a nurse in hospital and a company before starting her academic career. Now, to give us a glimpse at her study titled The Relationship of Gender Difference and Self Regulation Among Online Learners in the Philippines, let us welcome Dr. Rita C. Ramos.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the Office of Gender Concerns on celebrating its 10th anniversary. Director Fina Flor Thailand and also the staff of Office of Gender Concerns. Congratulations. No? Your unwavering commitment to promoting gender equality and addressing gender-related issues has made a significant impact, and it is truly inspiring to see how far we have come in these 10 years. I'm deeply grateful for the research grant provided by the Office of Gender Concerns, which has enabled me to delve in an important area of study, the relationship between gender differences and self-regulation among learners. Okay, among online learners in the Philippines. This research is particularly relevant in today's rapidly evolving educational landscape, where understanding the unique challenges and strengths of the diverse learners can pave the way for more inclusive and effective learning environment. Okay, so okay ba, Dennis? Okay, so the drastic shift to online education has consisted to pursue. By the way, I have not collected the data yet, but we're presenting now the proposal. But the drastic shift to online education has continued to persist among learners as the COVID-19 continues to affect every nation worldwide. Besides the issue of the digital divide, the current online learning of learners has also paved the way for issues based on the gender and academic performance. Using the Winay and Hadwin self-regulation theory, this study will explore the relationship of gender identity of online learners from the University of the Philippines to their self-regulation practices to measuring their academic performance. So utilizing a mixed method approach, the researcher will aim to give an emphasis on the aspect of gender in online learning, which is seldom realized. In addition, this study also contributes to the information building of gender and online learning in the Philippines. I would like also to acknowledge my co-author or my co-investigator for this, Assistant Prof. Hannah May Rosario from the Faculty of Education. Okay, this is the background and context of my study. So online learning in the Philippines, the importance of self-regulation, Winay and Hadwin self-regulation, and gender differences in educational context. Online learning has become a widely accepted form of learning in the 20th century. In fact, its significance has greatly pivoted during the spite of the COVID-19 pandemic, where 1.2 billion children in 186 countries have been affected by the closure of school from Lee and Lailani 2020. Such as a situation is also evident in the case of the Philippines, where 3.5 million tertiary level students have been afflicted in the continuance of education. Certainly, the sudden shift to online learning added challenges and barriers to learners. There is a divide among students who have no immediate access to internet connection and tools for technology such as laptops and smartphones, and those who have the means. Besides this, is also a concern of gender in online learning that have been evidently dynamic as time pass. Historically, there are issues of gender inequities raised in the discourse of learning from Berkowski 2013 many have regarded that the internet as a male-dominated area while women are restrained to juggle family commitments. Women are also regarded to have lower levels of computer literacy, lesser confidence than men, and perform less in science and mathematics subject. On the other hand, earlier studies suggest that contrary, Morante et al. 2070 have presented evidence that women are believed to be more effective learners for using an effective learning methods to learning. Female students are also seen to be more reflective, less hesitant, and a more positive experience in online learning. Going beyond the binary issues of the biological sex, issues that involve the LGBTQIA plus community are also being neglected in researches on online learning that led to scanty amount of research studies. Some studies have also explored the gender difference in online learning methods. Among these topics are in online participation, academic performance, and self-efficacy. And self-efficacy and usability that have shed a light to the role of gender in analyzing and engaging the student towards online learning. Other studies have also investigated the effects of learners' demographic backgrounds, like gender, educational level, and personality on online learning outcomes, while educational levels are perceived to be predictors of educations in online learning. Gender, on the other hand, continuously remain to be in controversy in relation to online learning outcomes. Within the area of studies in online learning, there is still a limited of study conducted that addresses the impacts of gender in virtual classroom. Such issue must be investigated more specifically in relation to self-regulation because it is one of the aspects that is believed to be necessary to achieve a successful learning experience. To fill this gap,
Excuse me. Excuse me po, Ma'am Rita. Is it okay? Can you full screen your presentation?
yes, okay. For a while.
Display setting daw po. Dun
Okay,
po
okay.
nasa taas. Okay po.
Okay, yan. Sorry, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay na po.
Thank you po.
Okay, so to fill in this gap, the study will investigate the effects of gender identity in self-regulated learning in Filipino distance learners. This study will navigate beyond the gender binaries of the male and female and will also consider those students who belong in the spectrum or the LGBTQIA plus community. Finally, the researchers believe that the study will greatly contribute to information building of the effects of gender in online learning. Through this, learning institution can consider mitigating issues of stigma, biases, and harassment that are entailed to gender. The study will also identify gaps in the field of distance education in the Philippines that may be utilized to develop future recommendations to improve distance learning in the country. Okay, that in the end, the key findings, given that the research setting will be from another university, the key findings and the result of the study will help to encourage administrators, educators, and scholars in eliminating issues of gender inequalities of all kinds of students in the university. The study will also aid in developing program or courses that will foster a sense of gender inclusiveness that will encourage students to participate and enroll. So we use in the literature review the theories of self-regulation and gender difference in education, the relevant models and previous research finding, and gender differences in education. Self-regulated learning theory is a framework in educational psychology, addresses the need to understand the learning processes of students to come up with possible intervention to those who struggle with it. That is commonly used in the context of online learning. Of interest to the study of online learning, the researchers will examine if there's a significant difference between self-regulated learning among male and female students in an open university. Using Winay and Hadwin's SRL model, the student also aims to measure how learners engage within their learning tasks with an emphasis on gender. This study aims to analyze whether gender differences affects on online learners' self-regulation process in achieving their desired academic performance. To explore this hypothesis, the researchers adapted or readapted Vinay and Hadwin's self-regulated learning model that will be utilized as a monitoring tool between the male and female learning processes. The study will monitor the self-regulation process to each phase involved in the SRL. After gathering from the cohorts, the researcher will then assess whether there are notable differences or relationship among male and female students by looking at their academic performances. The Vinay and Hadwin's SRL model starts with the task definition, wherein a learner perceives mentally the task at hand and defines it based on the individual's developmental stage, motivations, beliefs about learning, the learning environment, and the individual experiences, the initial condition of the learner's definition. In the first phase, the learner previews a list of guidelines and instruction, relevant resources, the time factor, what needs to be learned, and checks the personal aptitude and motivation to finish the task, among others. Consequently, phase 2 of the model involves our learner's strategizing scheme to approach the perceived learning task. It is within this phase that the students will specifically goal that involve the task, which includes the time frame, action, standards, content, criteria as proposed by Vinay and Hadwin. Within the phase 3 requires the learner to implement and initiate his or her goals through answering the assignments or other requirements. Lastly, 4 involves self-evaluation and reflection on its self-regulation process. This highlights the re-evaluation of the learner's self-regulation practice to see whether it was effective or not. Additionally, this space allows the learner to create a new adaptive strategies that could improve their academic performance later on. On the methodology, we are going to use a mixed methods design. And for the mixed methods design, as part of the mixed methods convergent parallel design, known as convergent design, quantitative and qualitative strands will be implemented simultaneously during the same phase of the research, and methods were equally prioritized. And during the analysis, the strands were kept independent, but during the interaction, the results were mixed. So on the next slide, the population and sample, this will be conducted in a science education class from a university, and to investigate more of the effects of gender, the criteria set for the participants will be inclusive of their gender identities, such as the male, female, and LGBTQIA+ members of within the LGBTQIA+ spectrum. And for the data collection methods, so as I said earlier, it will be used a convergent design, and for better understanding of the research question, convergent design will be intended to acquire complementary but different data on the same topic. So I have a qualitative data collection, which will make use of the field notes, documentation, online diaries, and also the qualitative data analysis. We are going to have also the thematic analysis, and then lastly, of course, it would also the merging the result of quantitative and qualitative. As a result, the convergent methods can be used to study self-regulation. Also, Panadero and others indicated that self-regulation cannot be fully explained by quantitative methods such as self-report tools, but rather by qualitative methods. Panadero and others found that the quantitative basis of using self-report questionnaire was not reliable in eliciting learning strategies. That's why on the study of Kermarek et al.'s, Vinay and Hadwin's theory was best suited to a mixed method design. So this is what we're going to do for the mixed method. On the quantitative, it's a descriptive and use of descriptive mean standard deviation and correlational. On the qualitative, it's a thematic analysis, and merging is the use of joint display. So for the ethical For the ethical considerations, the participants will be given for the autonomy, the participants will be given complete information about the study and will be given the freedom to make their own informed decision and any decision that will not be used against the participants. On the beneficence and non-maleficence, the purpose of this study is to gather only new information that is helpful in society. Thus, all participants shall not be put to harm or risk and expose them in other threatening situations. And justice, all participants shall have equitable distribution on the benefits and burdens that may arise in the study. In addition, the study will adhere to the right to privacy and confidentiality of participants. Under confidentiality and anonymity, the data gathered shall be strictly managed and secured subject to the university's policy on data privacy. All data obtained from the participation in the study will be treated as confidential and will not be released by proponent to any third party. All participants have a designated code that will be served as their username. Thus, the primary information of the students, such as name, gender, identity, email address, and student number will not be seen by the researcher. And for the plan for dissemination, the project will serve as a pilot study on relation of gender and self-regulation practices of online learners in the Philippines. The data gathering will be utilizing a mixed methods. Participants will be asked to answer a survey and will be invited to participate in an online focus group discussion. And the key findings and result of the study will contain both quantitative and qualitative data analysis. And here are my references. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you po, Dr. Rita. We are excited to get to know the research findings po after your study's implementation.
Thank you.
Okay po, now we are down to our last presenter. Let us welcome our third speaker, Dr. Mayra D. Oruga. She holds a master's degree in Master of Public Health from the University of the Philippines Open University and a postgraduate degree of Doctor in Philosophy in Human Nutrition from UP Los Baños. She is also the current assistant to the Vice Chancellor for Academics Research, Program Chair and Associate Professor of Diploma in and Master of International Health at the Faculty of Management and Development Studies, and the independent consultant of the Institutional Research Ethics Committee at UP Open University. Now to present her study entitled Living with and Caring for a Type 1 Diabetic Child, Coping and Depression Symptoms in Mothers, Exploring the Psychological and Emotional Impact on Mothers. Let us welcome Dr. Mayra D. Oruga.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you po.
In behalf of the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs Research, I'd like to congratulate the OGC, Office of the Gender Concern, for its 10th anniversary. And I'm glad that I'm one of the recipients of a small scope grant called GFRG, Gender Focused Research Grant. Gender Focused Research Grant has gone a long way. We have evaluated a lot of researches, and there are a lot of researchers that is pending to be evaluated soon by the Research and Publication Committee together with GC. So congratulations to the staff and Dr. Fina Flor Thailand for its milestones. Okay. So I'd like to share my research to you. Actually, this research is an ongoing research on living with and caring for a type 1 diabetic child, coping and depression symptoms in mothers, exploring the psychological and emotional impact on mothers. Next slide, please. Actually, I was supposed to show a YouTube video, but it's not a Creative Commons. So we'll just give you the link. It's a very good brief backgrounder on about type 1 diabetic child and the coping mechanism of not only of mothers but also of both parents with type 1 diabetic child. Next slide, please. So the study focuses on mothers with caring for children with type 1 diabetes. It's called T1D, using a photo voice to capture mothers' experiences. So I think this was mentioned previously by our first speaker on the what photo voice is all about. So developing a framework to understand coping styles and their effects on psychosocial health. Next slide, please. Next slide. So in the Philippines, the estimated 3.6 million adult Filipinos with diabetes is estimated that there are 3.6 million adult Filipinos with diabetes, but that was to 2010. Type 1 diabetes has a little published data. There are limited incidence of studies. Most of the studies are on the prevalent side, and most studies on diabetes is on type 2 diabetes. So what is type 1 diabetes? It's insulin dependent, affects children and adults. It causes severe health implications or complications such as blindness and kidney failure, and high treatment demands impact family significantly. Next slide, please. So the study will focus on the importance of parental coping. Parental coping matters because it influences family and child adjustment to diabetes. It affects mothers and children's psychosocial and quality of life. The study will try to show parental coping is linked to child school performances, social adjustment, and depression levels. Next slide, please. So the objective of the study is to develop a framework on how mothers' coping styles impact their children's psychosocial adjustment to type 1 diabetes. Its specific objective is to review the national DID policies and programs, assess the socio-demographic characteristics of mothers and children with type 1D, and examine the coping styles and depression symptoms in mothers and children. Next slide, please. Actually, we will not have a theoretical or conceptual framework here because it's qualitative. We will try to develop a framework on the study. The framework will be generated based on the emergent patterns from photo voice data and grounded jury analysis. Photo voice it allows participants to capture and share their experiences through photography. It provides visual insights into the challenges and coping methods of mothers. Next slide, please. So the study is qualitative, using grounded theory and photo voice. The photo voice workshop will be done to teach photo documentation of coping methods, photography sessions capturing coping strategies and depressive symptoms, and we will be conducting an FGD, which will allow participants to explain photograph meanings. Actually, photo voice has its own process. So it's not just taking the photograph, but we have to conduct a workshop in order to carry out the photo voice methodology. Next slide, please. So here are the activities on how we will be collecting the data. There would be introductory workshop on photo voice ethics and techniques. So it's the ethics will be carried out here. Series of FGDs to discuss themes and insights from photos. KII or key informant interviews to explore current TID policies and programs. And for the secondary data from diabetic club organizations on respondents' profiles. Next slide, please. How do we carry out gender-sensitive approach in conducting this research? So gender-sensitive approach in consideration for mothers, convenient schedule and transportation support will be given, child-friendly environment such as play area. That's where we are supposed to do the data collection, and lactation stations and comfortable setting for participants. Slide, please. So how do we plan for disseminating it? Local and international forums on diabetes and caregiving, local health centers to support mothers in underserved communities. For the publication, the result will be submitted for publication in relevant health and psychosocial journals. Next slide, please. What is the expected impact of this study? So in terms of guiding policies and program development, it will improve support for mothers, hopefully, and children with type 1 diabetes. Strategic health program that would aim at lessening type 1D impact on families. And for the potential benefit for mothers and children, it will hopefully enhance psychosocial adjustment and again, framework for future T1D related interventions. Next slide. So that's it. That's how brief our study is. Again, I say this is an ongoing project. We're still waiting for the endorsement of the OGC to the IREC of the ethical review. So those are my references. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Myra. We are also excited for this study po ninyo. At this juncture, let us have the open forum. Due to prior commitment of our first speaker, Dr. Pairwan Dari, she cannot join us for the open forum. But Dr. Myra and Dr. Rita will be available, will be live with us today. And joining with them is Dr. Finaflor Thailand. Speakers, can you please open your cameras? Okay, while waiting for our audience, we can get started with the prepared questions. Okay, this question is for Dr. Christie, but everyone can answer. How can digital platforms be made more inclusive to ensure equal representation of all genders? Okay, I'll repeat. How can digital platforms be made more inclusive to ensure equal representation of all genders?
Denise, I think it may not be directly from my study, but the way I look at it, when we would like to a digital platform to be inclusive, I always believe that it has to go through empirical process. Like it has to be well studied first. We cannot just say it's so that it has to be this way. Should be the design, but it should still be evidence-based. So just like in our study, in my study, as I guess, it's something try to fill the gap that because most of the studies self-regulation, the genders would always be male and female, right, Denise? But here, I would try to fill the gap of another inclusivity, like gender identity, like more of that, not alone the male and female. So if we would like to have our digital platform to be inclusive, it has to be studied first. We cannot just come up based on experts' opinion, based on what we see, but the more rigid that we could do is really to come up with a study. So I think the Office of the Gender Concerns will be more open for this, right? A proposal that would really study heavily the inclusivity on digital platforms in terms of gender inclusivity. Thank you.
I'm on the perspective of ethics, okay, in terms of the inclusivity domain. Okay. Number one, there should be a gender-neutral language. Okay, the language or the platform should avoid binary terms. Okay. Next is there should be an expanded gender options. Okay. Another one is there should be an inclusive imagery and content in the platform. Okay, why? This can include imagery that moves beyond stereotypes associated by gender roles. Okay, there should be privacy. Okay, and control over identity displays. That's ethics. Okay. And then, just like Ma'am Rita have said, there should be an education and training of the content, really. Because we just cannot say this platform should be used or this platform should be used. There should be an evidence-based study on it. And we should be taught how to, because not all people are exposed to gender sensitivity. I, for one, have not been exposed. It's just recently that because it is the demand for most of the projects that we are submitting as part of our project proposals to different funder, that I try to study what gender sensitivity and inclusivity is all about. So that's it.
Satisfy sana namin. Sana sa nagtanong na-satisfy ba, no? If you have,
Those are good answers actually from our colleagues. I share the same opinions, though based on naman yung akin social worker perspective and gender advocate and practitioner. Maganda yung binabanggit na importante that we have enough studies to back our interventions. To answer directly the question siguro, syempre unas, for our digital platforms to be inclusive in terms of gender, importante na we provide the platforms. No, we provide, we make it accessible to all, tas intentional siya. Kaya doon siguro papasok yung binabanggit ni Doc Rita na dapat may study. Ano ba ang gusto mong targets in ensuring that our platforms are accessible? Kanino natin siya gustong intentionally i-open o gawing accessible? Tapos maganda rin binabanggit ni Doc Myra, ano ba dapat yung support mechanism para ma-ensure natin na bubuksan mo nga yung platforms, gagawin natin siya accessible and inclusive, pero hindi naman siya una safe, ensuring dapat natin na safe yung environment. Pangalawa, dapat may legal frameworks tayo doon sa institutions that will provide access. Kaya yung binabanggit, for example, ni Doc Myra, yung sa training and capacity building ng implementers, for example, sa mga faculty natin o sa mga implementers, for example, ng courses, no, importante na meron silang enough na training and support para before we are able to spreading simultaneous, dapat marunong silang gumamit at marunong silang gumamit ng mga gender fair language, ina-ensure natin na gender sensitive yung content delivery at safe, no, yon. Tapos importante na may sinusundan tayong legal frameworks, no. Ang maganda somehow sa Pilipinas, somehow kasi up to a certain extent lang yan, meron tayong mga legal frameworks dyan pero kulang pa. Tapos sa university naman, sa UP, meron din tayo pero again, kulang pa din. Kaya nung nakarang linggo, marami tayong inattendang meetings on the revision of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Code. Magbigay lang ako ng isang maiksing example. For example, dun sa GST Massive Open Online Course natin, gusto natin intentional yung pagbubukas sa kanya sa lahat, no? Mapa kung anong classes silang backgrounds. Dahil MOOC siya, wala siyang hinahanap na academic degrees, no, para sa mga participants natin. Tapos kasama rin syempre doon ng gender. Pero inaral din natin mula sa doon sa una nating course offering, sino ba yung nag-enroll sa atin sa GST MOOC? Ano yung kanilang mga backgrounds in various areas, no? Socio-political, even economic, at ano yung motivation nila for enrolling. At mula doon, may mga nakuha tayong learnings. Kaya nung second offering natin, tinry din natin i-tweak ng kaunti yung mga resources natin. At nakita rin natin kung saan tayo medyo nagkulang. Kasi kung, again, yung sa targeting, kung ano yung gusto nating target. sa tingin natin kulang tayo sa ganito. So naging intentional din yung marketing strategy natin patungkol sa pag-o-offer nito. By the way, it's free. It's for all, no? Kaya importante yung inclusivity na binabanggit. Ang sa tingin kong isang kailangan pa rin na mas ma-strengthen natin in terms of gender diversity, medyo marami na tayong nagawa, though a lot of things can still be done there in terms of gender identity and expression. Pero yung patungkol sa disabilities, no, ensuring that our platforms are accessible kahit anong klaseng disabilities or abilities ang meron, that still need to be done more in terms of yun nga sa accessibility, and ang dami nating utang sa PWDs in relation to that. May mga nagawa na tayo, kunyari sa UPOU, yung sa ating learning management system, may binuksan na tayong software or app para may mga pwede silang magawa doon sa mga ginagawa nating learning platforms. Yung mga videos natin, binuksan na rin natin na sila ay yung captioning ay nandoon, pero ang dami pang kulang. Like ngayon, maganda na merong nagsa-sign language siguro sa gilid natin. Yung mga ganang klase. So a lot still can be done. Ang importante siguro yung awareness raising. That's why we keep on discussing all these things, no? So yun na muna for now, but it's a good question to be asked and reflected, no? On.
Ina, I would like also to ask, I would like also to share, no, kasi ang napag-uusapan yung inclusivity din, no? Saan yung siguro sa study ko, I think dito sa study namin ni Ma'am Hana, ang nakikita ko rin kasi once we have the result, it will give you an overview how the differences between the male, female, or the gender identity regulate their learning or yung self-discipline nila. So, anong isang nakikita ko rin dito, pwede din tayong magkaroon ng platform na kino-consider ang differences ng self-regulation. Kasi ang pakiramdam ko, kasi itong self-regulation is parang nanganak ito yung dissertation ko kasi I came up with an LMS or Learning Management System that would enhance self-regulation. Dito naman, since nadagdagan ko yung gap ng magkakaroon ng issue of gender identity, so magkakaroon ako ng isang LMS or platform that would say that it is inclusive regardless of gender identity, di ba? Hindi natin i-consider na usually sa self-regulation, di ba? Minsan mayroon tayong thinking na ang babae ganito mag-aral, mas masipag, tapos may pamamaraan, while the male are siguro ay less sila lax or whatever, but these are biases, right? So nakikita ko din, Doc Fina, itong result ng study ko can also enhance yung mga digital platform. Baka masyado tayong bias pagdating sa gender identity. Yun lang po. So doon po sa nagtanong, sana po ay nasatisfy namin ni Doc Myra ang mga tanong ninyo. Kung hindi, pwede nyo rin pong sabihin. Anyway, thank you po.
Thank you po, speakers. This is a question for Dr. Rita po, given your study. In your initial research and existing literature, can you give us a brief summary of how male and female students differ in how they set and achieve academic goals in online learning environments?
Although there are dearth of study na talagang focus on gender, that's why I try to fill in the gap. Most of the study, it's a relationship ng sa academic performance directly. But in this study of mine, ang fill in the gaps ko, it will really focus on the differences ng gender ng male and female, plus yung gender identity. That's why I use the word gender identity, because it measures inclusivity, relevance, and accuracy. Kasi, di ba, napansin nyo, ginamit namin sa gender identity. Yes, there are a dearth of siguro of researches on gender, pero it's more of general on academic performance, and it has been found out na ang male daw, ganun lang, dalawa lang, male and female. It has been found out that females are more self-regulated as compared to males. Siguro yun ang sinasabi nyo. Kaya when I thought of this, nakita ko itong mga literature review nito, why not fill the gap, no? To study further on gender identity itself. and specifically on self-regulation kasi more of ano sila, academic performance. And we all know that self-regulation concept, it's at the act of your, yung discipline and control over your learning is a big ano to so may huge impact also on academic performance. So may ilan for gender but it's not directly looking into self-regulation kaya and to think we only have two parate, male and female. As I said before, meron tayong at least LGBTQ component na gender identity na po ang ginamit natin, not only gender. Yun lang po.
Okay, thank you po, Doc Rita. This question is for Dr. Ay, yes po.
Meron lang ako maiksi dyan.
Okay po,
If
Doc.
Ginagamit kasi natin yan sa training natin din sa gender responsive teaching and learning dito sa university. Malaki kasi yung kinalaman, ang hirap mong i-discriminate or i-isolate, sorry, sa term na discriminate, i-isolate yung gender sa kabuang self-regulation or academic accomplishments. Maraming literature lalo from West na may ganon na binabanggit ni Doc Rita. Kaya lang malaki din yung kinalaman ng cultural aspect doon. Like for example, male daw tend to, yun nga yung binanggit, tend to lapse or they're more into STEM. Pero alam na natin hindi naman yun. Tapos magaling daw sila sa spatial na skills. Yung sa space, yung kaya sa engineering, yung mga ganyan. Well, as a female sa nurturing roles, sa mga soksay, which we know very well, hindi naman din talaga. But a lot of this has to do with cultural aspect din, no? Yun nga, yung stereotypes at kung ano yung ginagalawan din nilang espasyo at context sa kanila. So, kaya yung binabanggit ni Doc Rita kanina, maganda sigurong upuan natin, tingnan how do we isolate these variables and ensure lang talaga na mayroon tayong gender considerations na tinitingnan. Though let's see sa design yun tsaka sa methodology.
We're looking at it in to the lens ng gender.
Sige. Kaya excited tayong marinig din yung iba't ibang aspeto lalo sa Philippine setting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you po. This is another question po for Dr. Myra. Specifically po ito about the ethical consideration on your study. Paano po ma-ensure na yung participants feel comfortable and safe discussing potentially sensitive topics related to their mental health and caregiving experience?
Number one, yung method na photo voice, it has a process. It's not just being conducted as a photo voice workshop. Okay, meron siyang steps on how to conduct it. And we involve a multidisciplinary approach over that. Hindi lang ako ang magpo-collect, but of course there are standbys counselors if there would be breakouts during the may tawag dito yung sa sharing of the photography that they capture relating it to dun sa pinaka-topic. Yon, it's multidisciplinary. There are standby health professionals. Kaya nga mahal kaya nga sabi namin before when we are asking GFRG, it's not just a small scope. Okay, it's a large scope project kasi nga of course we have to give monetary compensation and it's ethical to those who will help us extract a substantive result to the research. Okay? Tapos ayun, yun yung usual that we will be carrying out in ethics. Of course, just like in any other ethical consideration, we follow through the 7 ethical principles of autonomy. Those who do not want to participate, okay? Beneficence and maleficence, just like, and also other processes that I've mentioned earlier. Sa methodology.
Okay, thank you po. Meron pong gusto i-add yung ibang speakers? Ay, wala na. Okay po. Going back po ulit to Dr. Rita. This is a question from one of our Zoom participants, Ms. Richelle May de Luna. Hello po and thank you po sa question nyo. Ito po. What role do psychological factors and social factors play in the academic performance of the students based on their genders?
What role?
What role do psychological factors and social factors play in the academic performance of the students po?
I can say siguro based on study, there's several study that would say yung motivation, di ba? Yan yung mga psychological factors that may affect academic performance. But it's just one, no? We cannot directly say, usually, there are some studies that would make use of a model, di ba? So we cannot say directly na motivation lang. May compounding factors pa like siguro socioeconomic, motivation, self-efficacy. So marami siyang iba't ibang psychological factors that can affect. But sometimes in some studies, meron lang extent or percentage or degree that can affect a certain education, psychological variables like yung sabi ko ay motivation. Katulad ng motivation, di ba meron tayong intrinsic or extrinsic motivation na if you are intrinsically motivated, the more yung pag-aaral mo ay deep learning, di ba? Because you just wanted to learn things, di ba? But if you are extrinsically motivated, like you are just studying or taking master's, PhD because for promotion, meron din siyang apektado din ang ating pag-aaral or self-regulation, the way we study things, no? Kaya you can just siguro look at sa atin lang kung bakit tayo nag-aaral, for instance, if we really wanted to just learn, di ba? Iba yung manners mo, iba din yung deep learning ba? Hindi siya superficial, no? So, I think there are ang self-regulation, isa lang yan eh. Pero if you're gonna think of other things like, yun nga, ang daming factors, hindi lang siya one size fits all na motivation lang matters, di ba? Pati siguro yung feel mo efficacious ka ba o hindi, it would also affect. Yun lang po. Ay, Sir Prime, si Sir
Ayun po, Sir Prime.
Tatakot ako si Sir
Hello po, Sir Prime.
Sir Prime. Sa akin ba yan, Sir?
Naka-ayos
Or
answer.
mag-share lang siguro si Sir.
I-share na siguro.
Si-share
Hindi
lang
naman.
si Sir. Oo, natakot ako kay Sir. Kasi
Ito ito meeting ng FMDS ha.
akala ko,
OGC po ito.
Pasensya na po. Si Sir Prime kasi ay former dean namin. So, natakot kami ni Myra. Sige mga Sir Prime.
Hindi naman ako magtatanong regarding kasi dun sa factors, no. Sasagutin ko siguro siya from the perspective that I normally take when I'm doing research, no, in my own discipline, which is a social constructionist stance, no. So parang from there, I'm less concerned with the parang innate differences between male and female in terms of teaching and learning, no, although some people would argue about yung factors na yon, no, but more on the social context which makes the learning context for male and females different. So one way to approach this research is to look at the how the social context within the family, within work, within the community shapes the learning environment of females as opposed to males. Like binanggit na kanina yata yan ni Ma'am Fina about women performing more nurturing roles, not because they are inherently designed for that, but because society defines it for them, no? So as a student, you can just imagine that if you were a student studying at a distance, if you are a mother, a working mother, and then performing both responsibilities on the job and in the family, and then of course sometimes you are also expected to provide care to your elderly parents, di ba? So all of these add up, and all which affects the time that this person would have for their own studies. So yung schedule niya maiiba, yung ability niya to participate in certain activities maiiba, yung learning strategies niya to be able to survive would be different. And it would be interesting to know how people construct their own learning environment in that way, di ba? So baka that's something that can also be surfaced by the study of Ma'am Rita. So aside from the factors, probably that the context would probably perhaps explain the factors, di ba, Ma'am Rita?
Yes, sir.
They could provide the explanation for the relationship between the factors.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Sir, I guess thank you, VC Prime for that. Yes, I think Sir Prime, VC Prime was referring also systems approach because sometimes it's also hard it's better to look into the kumbaga sa cellular level first in the family, tama ba, sir? So the variables would be the family, the individual, family, community, and society. So if we're going to consider also yung cellular level like the individual, the family, her role inside the house, di ba? Mas okay po yun. So, I think, sir, I would like to acknowledge also your insights on that, and that would also help the study to be enhanced. Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, and thank you po for your answers. Meron pa pong isang question from Augustine Balan. Yan. Everyone is welcome to answer po here, all the speakers. Especially, syempre po, pati po si VC Prime. Ito po. I just noticed that people still trust male over female to be leaders even if the female candidate is most qualified over the male candidate. What are your opinions regarding the recent US election that most of the people voted Trump over Kamala Harris?
Can I answer that? In a
Yes po.
perspective, cultural.
Yes
I
po.
think, while Americans are far more advanced in terms of technology to us, because they are regarded as one of the members of superpowers. In terms of culture, they're still patriarchal. You know, you can trace that on their culture compared to us young nations such as the Philippines, and other ASEAN country. I hope I have pronounced it correctly, ASEAN countries. We are more open and we are more liberal to admitting that women really, aside from what the VC Prime have mentioned, has a nurturing characteristics. Hindi na tayo tumitingin kung sino yung mas magaling or hindi. Tinitingnan natin kung sino yung makakagawa ng valuable something to the society. So I think it's more of a cultural. Also, wala ka kasi dun sa it's more of a social media fanfare eh. But from the interviews I did from a few of my friends who are living there, in terms of plans, mas daw yung ni Trump. Sabi nila, mas maano daw yung ni Trump kaysa kay dun sa
Kamala.
Democrats na si Kamala. So, I think that. But over and above, I think talagang patriarchal sila eh. You can trace that back nung si Hillary Clinton, di ba? Nag-candidate din siya. Talo din siya. Kasi nga, they have this perspective na mas malakas ang mga American male kesa sa mga American female or sa mga babae. So, mas lean pa sila or biased pa sila in terms of that perspective. I don't know, it's just an observation sa aking opinion.
Okay, thank you po, Doc Mai. May other speakers po who wants to share?
Actually, same naman. Though it's I think it's complicated nowadays. dahil sa binanggit din, no, maraming interplay din ng iba't ibang, kunyari, social media, how you project people's image and destroy others. Ganun din. Minsan hindi na rin natin alam o yung mga tao hindi na rin masyadong marunong, kahit ako, ma-distinguish kung ano yung totoo at hindi. Tas malaki din yung concern ako from a social worker's point of view in terms of yung sa psychological, psychosocial aspect, no? Ang laking bagay kasi ng relatability, kung ano yung, kung paano mo titingnan ng isang candidate and who you will choose to vote. So titingnan mo doon, is your are your values, do your values, do the values and plans of the candidates relate to yours, no? At alin doon yung saan ka mas nakaka-relate, saan ka mas paborable in terms of your own personal principles and values. That's one. Pero syempre, election yan, tapos campaign period yan. A lot of things can be said na malayo din naman siya sa katotohanan or sa, promises, no? Tapos kung ano yung mangyayari. But again, it all boils down doon sa yun nga, hindi it all boils down. No? Isang malaking bagay yung relatability. But I still believe that a lot of societies are still patriarchal in that regard. I'm not saying that they will choose male over female lang. That's not patriarchy in itself lang. Even female, they can vote for female candidates kung sa tingin nila, this female or women candidates hold or possess masculine or patriarchal values and principles or thinking. Nangyayari yan sa Philippines, no? Or even in other countries na kahit babae sila, but they hold or they are being seen as patriarchal and they are relatable to their own personal values and principles, they would be voted. Nakikita ko yan sa kahit sa local and national elections natin, kahit sa Philippines and even abroad. Gaya na binanggit ng isang magaling na academician natin sa Philippines, yung pagiging feminist naman or gender advocate, hindi siya nakasalalay sa kung ano yung sex or gender identity mo. It's more of the perspective. So kahit babae ka, if you hold patriarchal visions, patriarchal principles, 'di ba? Parang in terms of representation bilang babae, kapag yun ang binibilang natin at minsan ganun lang din ka, hindi ko pwedeng sabing mababaw, pero siya sige, for a lack of a better no, nagbibilang tayo kung ilan ang babaeng sa MDGs and SDGs, ganun kasi. Nagbibilang kung ilan yung babaeng nasa parliament o nasa legislative or nag-hold ng leadership position, lalo na sa national government. Pero mas magandang tingnan yung perspective, yung dinadalang advocacies. Kasi ako, I also go for men, kahit men sila, but if they are gender advocates, if they are feminist, even if they are males, I would go for them. So, pero syempre, importante pa rin yung representation in terms of gender identity or kahit yung binary sex pa lang. Pero maybe it's also good that we dig deeper. And ayan na naman, ayoko daw masyadong magsalita na. Baka maging emotional, maging masyadong involved. Pero oo, importanteng nare-remind tayo talaga ng kung ano din yung contributions natin as academicians, as our professions dictate then. For example, ako bilang social worker, what can I contribute to ensuring, hindi naman to ensuring, to contributing din sa yung critical thinking ng masses. For example, in the Philippines and even in US, based dun sa tanong, it's still the masses talaga, no? Which will inform the elections results. So, mapa kung anong gawin mong kagandahan sa mga campaigns and all, bababa ka sa ground at sa masa. Kasi sila talaga yung so nakita natin yan yung mga swing votes sa US and even dito sa ating bansa. So, ayun, it's a good reflection ulit. Sana hindi lang siya basta laging learning curve for us. Sana may nangyayari. Pero sige, ganyan, that's how democracy works. So, sige, i-embrace natin ang democracy. So, ganyan kasi, we win some, we lose many times. Anyway, sige lang, okay lang, sige lang. Ibig sabihin, marami pa tayong pwedeng magawa. Even sa gender advocacy at sa iba pang larang. Thank you.
Thank you po. May other additional po ang other speakers?
Yes,
Yes,
Denise.
go po, VC Prime.
I would just like to pick up on what Ma'am Fina said about yung role of social media. Recently, elections all over the world are heavily shaped by social media, no? And hindi naman surprising to. In fact, several authors in the 70s, no, social theories have already predicted these things to happen with the fragmentation of the discourses and the yung creation Jean Baudrillard's hyperreality, meaning people are no longer able to distinguish the real from the hyperreal in technology advanced societies, and this is already happening, no? Binanggit nga ni Ma'am Fina na whatever is being said on social media is being taken as truth regardless whether they are factual or not, no? But at the same time, we also have to consider na these social media are, while they may have opportunities or affordances to open up discussions and discourses, they're also driven by profit, no? And they are their algorithm is designed to make you stay in the social media and then engage more frequently, no? And so dahil doon, there's a tendency for the algorithm to increase the divide between communities, no? That's what I've been observing. So it happened in our last election. It happened in the US election. People have been conversing with the people na they shared the same ideas with, no? And there's nothing wrong with that. Kaso nga lang, the idea of the public forum, just like what we're doing right now, parang is getting parang it's getting diminished and diminished over the years, no? Kaya nga sabi ni Ma'am Fina, baka kailangang bumaba dun sa level na there are limits to social activism on the internet. Diba? Yung parang, kasi nga, this is a private, para siyang public, but at the same time, it's a private platform. It's a privately owned platform, no? Designed to serve the interests of the shareholders, no? So, may limits talaga siya, no? When it comes to, if you want kasi democracy cannot thrive without this social participation. And there are limits to the digital platforms ability to have these open discussions, no? Yun lang po.
Thank you po, VC Prime. From one of our Zoom participants po ulit. Thank you po sa Zoom participants nating napaka-active. This is not technically a question po, but an idea based from the research presented by Dr. Myra Uruga. I hope we can also start doing gender-based research which features the other female roles, like the situations of daughters-in-law in a Filipino family setting, female kasambahays, or etc. If there are already research available on these subjects, I would love to know some po if you know any.
Actually, there are few. Okay. In the Philippines, I think that's good areas to explore. Okay? Kasi you will be one of the pioneers. Okay, to do that. I have no idea or haven't read any published journal article with regards to on that area. Wala pa. If you are interested, pinromote. You can write down the proposal, whatever it is that you, ano ba yung program mo, we can discuss and explore about it. But yung kasing yung methodology ko na photo voice is very maganda siya because I have done this in my doctoral degree course and maganda siya na na exploration kasi siya you not only learn about the condition but nasa-submerge ka dun sa talagang feeling nung pinaka-subject or yung pinaka-respondents mo eh. Very, very personal siya eh. So you learn to understand either coping mechanism, coping strategies, their issues and challenges. Actually, we did a pre-survey already eh. So, kaso hindi na sila pwedeng kabilang doon sa part of our respondents kasi there is a diabetic club group of one of my students and yun, maganda siyang i-explore. Kung you are interested, we're open at the FMDS program namin, merging or collaboration. So, tingnan natin. Pero wala pa, ano siya. But that would be a good topic, okay, to do. Kasi makakatulong siya. It will not only impact the personal on the personal level of your respondents as well as your personal level, but we I as a public health expert would love to do that as policy recommendation din dun sa mga gumagawa ng polisiya regarding that. It's an research-based. Dapat research-based. Tapos yung outcome niya would help policymakers also. So, yun.
Yeah. Thank you, Doc Myra. Biglang naging MC ako. Denise, if I may share, yung sa female kasambahay, alam ko may mga NGOs tayo na iyan yung focus, no? At nagtingin ako ngayon, may mga ilan ako nakita na mga studies, though marami dito case study based, so medyo mas maliliit pero mas malalim naman yung pagtingin, no? So okay yan. Siguro Dole, baka meron doon sa ano natin. Maganda yung binabanggit ni Doc Myra kanina. Kasi baka may mga research na ginawa na o ginagawa, tas hindi lang siya accessible by the public kasi hindi sila nakapublished, no? Pero nasa library sila ng mga government agencies o ng mga NGOs. Tas dahil, ewan ko ngayon, ako personal to, minsan sa online na lang tayo nagtitingin din. Kung ano yung available, nakakamiss din pumunta sa mga physical library which we may get this data then on our studies. Pero I know ang tagal naman na ng Kasambahay Law, and there are numerous or a couple of NGOs working on this, and then Dole is the major implementer of the Kasambahay Law. So malamang sa hindi, meron na yung mga nagawa. And then, very interesting yung sa daughter-in-law. Bigla ko tuloy naalala yung mga proposal na thesis advisor ako or panel. Though ito ay sa ibang bansa nakaset, baka magandang tingnan. O nga, no, sa Philippine setting, tas depende kung anong klaseng dynamics ang gusto mo, family dynamics ba or ano. Pero these are interesting things. Gaya ng binanggit ni Doc Myra, promote din tayo. Pwede nating makapag-collaborate dyan through OGC. Kahit sa social work program, okay din. Within the naman yan, mandate natin. So sige, magandang siguro iyan na lang natin through email, open naman tayo for collaboration. And these are very interesting topics to delve into. Thank you.
Sorry kasi hindi ako daughter-in-law. Joke lang.
Mag-ethnographic ba ako? Biglang gano'n nagsariling writing ng sariling okay naman, walang problema. Ano rin natin yan. Check natin. Check muna natin kung may oras tayo.
Check muna.
Oo, magandang mga O kaya, ang mga estudyante minsan natin sa research, walang maisip na topic or hindi naman sa walang maisip, parang they tend to be very tentative on the topics that they would like to research on sa mga subjects. So baka magandang i-pitch, no, yung mga ganitong topics sa kanila whenever appropriate. Thank you. Doc May, baka daw sa susunod.
Pag may oras.
Okay, thank you po, speakers. We're down to our last question. This is for all po. How can interventions in Asia better engage men and boys as allies in advancing gender equality and addressing women's issues?
Sige, simulan ko. Sige, Doc May, ikaw na.
Ang last si Doc Fina. I think the most important here is participatory. Just like we've always been saying sa mga forum or fora, there should be we should encourage men to participate with us so that they understand our qualms, okay, our rants. They should be exposed, okay? Invite them, okay, dun sa mga forum na kinoconduct natin, as well as empower them also to joined us. Actually, in our research, there is a question or comment when we are doing, when we submitted that to GFRG. Why do you focus only on as a part of the subject women? And there are men who are also caregivers, di ba? However, based on the literature that we have been exploring, okay, ano kasi mas lean towards the nurturing of the women. So after, siguro as part of our recommendation would be to carry out something similar or to duplicate it, pero this time it will be more on the men who are caregivers also, because we have that in the Philippines. Unahin muna natin yung tignan muna natin ang perspective nung sa women, and then tignan natin din yung perspective ng men. So hindi naman natin sinasabi na we will just focus on that. We just wanted to empower them more, kasi nga kalimitan nga sa literature sila yung caregivers, but we do not dispel the fact that there are men who are also caregivers. So that would be part of our siguro recommendation as we deal on the implementation of our research.
Ako naman, Ma'am Myra, Doc Myra and Doc Pina Flor, siguro practical lang. It's really hard din naman siguro minsan yung encourage din natin sila to participate in a certain activity. But I always believe as a mother and also sa family, dapat nagsisimula din sa bahay. Siguro sa ating mga mommies or ako personally, I always believe we want to have inclusivity, magandang simulan yan sa upbringing at sa bahay, di ba? Just like a simple household chores din na instead of stereotype natin na ang paglalaba, paglilinis ay for for babae, dapat sa bahay siguro, kasi pag sinimulan mo yung anak mo or sa family mo yan, paglabas niya, he or she will take it siguro equal, di ba? So ako yun ang pananaw ko, Doc Fina, kasi I understand na ang pag-asa ko siguro ng ganyan ay sa bahay. Paano mo palakihin yung anak mo? Paano nakikita ng anak mo sa magulang? Kasi 'di ba? Yun yung mahirap. Yun siguro ang maganda sa base sa experience ko din na sa bahay talagang walang hindi naman walang babae o lalaki, lahat siguro equal ang rights sa paglilinis at sa house. Yun, sa akin basic din, Doc Fina. I just don't know na malaking bagay na kaya minsan sa school, 'di ba? May mga tanong na one time nagkamali yung anak ko kasi sasabi kong pambabae o panlalaki. Pag nagkamali yung anak ko kasi sabi niya, mama, ginagawa mo yan ginagawa din ni Papa. So, pero mali siya. So, yung mga ganon sigurong basic lang na I still strongly believe as a mother, if we want to have that kind of thinking or malaking bagay magsimula sa pamilya. Yun lang, Doc.
Maganda yung mga binabanggit ng mga natin kasama natin, no? So balik siguro tayo dun sa agents of socialization for gender, no? Agents for gender socialization. So yung mga institutions for gender socialization, gaya na binabanggit ni Doc Rita, home is number 1, upbringing, etc. to school, tas wider community, kahit sa work environment, lahat yan merong contribution sa how gender roles are normalized, or pwede rin on the other side, or din naman, no, are being shaken, no, and hopefully talagang unti-unting ma-minimize at okay na ma-normalize yung hindi kailangan na bawat role ay tinitingnan siya whether pambabae o panlalaki. I share many experiences, Doc Rita, doon sa school.
Oo.
Hindi ko bilang may mga anak tayong nag-aaral. At syempre hindi ko pwedeng mapalampas, hindi naman tayo palaaway na magulang, pero importanteng nako-communicate natin lalo kasama sila nga sa mga points for intervention natin at kasama rin yun sa mandate, for example, ng DepEd and even CHED. Anyway, magandang tanong, tas maganda rin binabanggit ni Doc Mai na tama naman, active participation talaga. Tas balik ako dun sa binanggit ko, targeting. For example, sa OGC, sa office natin, sa university, masaya ako kapag nakaka-target talaga tayo, nakaka-invite tayo ng mga male participants natin sa mga GSTs natin. And matagal na rin nating tina-target yun, na-target, no? So may mga naisagawa na tayo na dati yung nung nag-invite tayo dun sa isang organization, yung Men Opposed to Violence Everywhere. And then in the recent months din or last year din, meron din tayong kinakonduct na for male participants na gender sensitivity. And then I always look forward kapag meron talaga male participants sa mga ano natin. Siya, no, medyo tricky din. Tapos it's also, kumbaga, one of those strategies that I use that I really discuss, for example, masculinity as a topic. For example, how do you address toxic masculinity and how do you tweak it to making it positive masculinity? Alam ko marami tayong colleagues na tataasan ako ng kilay dyan. Pero isa sa mga tricks ko yon to win allies rather than antagonize people. Napapansin ko kasi ngayon, when you confront issues head-on, walang makikinig sa'yo eh. So why not you leverage, kumbaga, tingnan mo saan ka pwedeng magsimula, tapos pumasok ka sa kung saan kanila mas maiintindihan o ikaw din kung saan mo sila mas maiintindihan. And I think not a lot of people, lalo men, can just let go of masculinity as a concept. Marami doon, nakikita nila yun sa strength. So ako, tinitingnan ko siya, how do I leverage that? So hindi ko pwedeng sabihin yan, let go of that masculinity. Hindi. So long as hindi yan nag-result in gender-based violence, pwede pa to. Well, hindi ko na sinasabing hopeless nandun sa mga offenders natin for GBV. No? Pero ang gusto ko lang mabanggit, I would like to win allies rather than enemies. And yan ang isa sa mga ginagamit kong strategies. And I feel na nagkakaroon tayo ng mga successes dyan sa bagay na yan. Tapos mula doon, hindi ka naman doon magtatapos, no? It's a journey. At lagi mong gagamitin na, kunyari, na win mo na sila in terms of they listen to you now, they think of you as someone that they can trust. And one more thing pala, kapag male-dominated yung mga participants ko I usually invite male speakers as well. Siyempre gusto niya mga yan, they would like to listen more to their colleague doon. Kasi siyempre pag mabae rin yung participant, speaker nila, isipin nila, sinasabi lang nila to kasi, 'di ba? Kasi makikinabang yung babae. But when they listen to their co-male, iba yung atake. And I could see that. I could see the successes of this. So I usually have those strategies. At maganda yung tanong, importanteng babalik tayo dun sa nung pinag-usapan natin, inclusiveness, no? Lagi nating isasama yung mga ibang sa tingin natin ay kailangan pang ma-conscientize, mag-participate more dun sa discussion at dun sa discourse. Una, para hindi agad-agad naman mabago sila, pero mas maunawaan din natin sila. Let's have that intent na kaya mo sila iisasama, not just to change them because they're the change system, target change system, pero mas maunawaan mo rin sila, saan ba sila nagmumula? At baka doon mas makapag-reflect tayo better how to make better interventions, gaya ng binanggit nga natin sa title ng ating forum ngayon. And at yun, mas maging intentional at yung makuha natin yung intended changes na gusto nating mangyari. At dun sa mga ginagawa natin ngayong mga strategies, intervention, iba't iba, no? Importante na yun, to have those in mind. So siguro yun na muna for now at baka pagalitan na tayo ng staff natin, ang dami kong sinasabi. Pero maraming salamat dun sa mga magagandang ng tanong. Thank you.
Thank you very much po, speakers, and especially Dr. Fina Flor and VC Prime for joining us during our open forum. We have very interesting questions that keep on coming. Unfortunately, we would need to cut short the open forum in the interest of time and award our our speakers their certificates. Okay, everyone, allow me to read the citation. The University of the Philippines Open University Office of Gender Concerns awards this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Elizabeth Christy Power Wandari, Dr. Rita C. Ramos, and Dr. Myra D. Oruga for serving as resource persons in the Gender Equality Matters GEM Forum, Emerging Gender and Women's Issues in Asia, Opportunities for Research and Intervention, held on November 11, 2024, at the UP Open University, Los Baños, Laguna. Given this 11th day of November 2024 at the UP Open University, Los Baños, Laguna, signed by Dr. Finaflor F. Thailand. Once again, let's all give a virtual round of applause to our speakers. Okay. In celebration of the UPOU Office of Gender Concerns 10th anniversary, we are excited to announce the launch of the UPOU Bahaghari e-Gadvocates. Okay, some of our Zoom participants are actually part of the UPOU Bahaghari e-Gadvocates. Everyone, thank you for participating in this forum. Okay, the online community of practice or COP is created for the thousands of our gender sensitivity training or GST massive open online course or MOOC completers trained on gender sensitivity, facilitating their empowerment to be advocates in their own communities. Please watch this video to learn more about this online community of practice, our mission, and how you can get involved soon.
The UPOU Office of Gender Concerns is proud to announce the official launch of the UPOU Bahaghari e-Gadvocates. This is an online community of practice, or COP, for the completers of the Gender Sensitivity Training Massive Open Online Course, or the GST MOOC, who were trained in gender sensitivity and can serve as GAD advocates in their own communities. Bahaghari e-Gadvocates aims to create a space for continuous learning and knowledge sharing about gender-sensitive approaches. It provides a dynamic platform where GST MOOCs completers can come together to share insights, discuss challenges, and collaborate on innovative solutions to promote gender equality in their fields. The creation of this online community of practice reflects UPOU's unwavering commitment to gender equality, not only in our academic work and environment, but also in our personal lives and communities, and in the wider society. Together, we can continue making strides toward a more gender-responsive, inclusive, and transformative society.
Again, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the UPOU Bahaghari e-Gadvocates here for our today's forum. Okay, wag po kayo mahiyang mag-hi sa ating chat box. Now, the Office of Gender Concerns would like to announce the winners of the zine making contest entitled Zinech Have, Sama-samang Pagtahak ng Kasarian sa ODEL, which was open to all registered and bona fide UPOU students. This initiative is in collaboration with Kathaang Ugnayan ng Likhain, Talastasan, Obrat Ulat, or KULTO. We would like to thank all who submitted their entries, and those who participated in the contest will receive an e-certificate. The fourth place will receive a consolation prize. The third place, second place, and grand winner will receive monetary prizes. Without further ado, we will announce the winners. For the fourth place, congratulations, Maria Lourdes Batingue. For the third place, congratulations, Lara Flynn Gonzaga. For the second place, congratulations, Dasha Elisa Lariosa. And last but not the least, for the grand prize winner, Rowie Maris Halog. We will also be sharing the announcement on KULTO and OGC Facebook page. Congratulations to the winners! Please wait for the OGC staff to contact you via email. Okay, now everyone to present the results of the sectoral consultation led by the Office of Gender Concerns, along with our next steps and ways forward. Please join us in giving a warm virtual round of applause to our OGC Director, Dr. Finaflor F. Thailand.
Yan, thank you, Denise. Congratulations muna dun sa mga winners. Mga estudyante natin to sa UPOU. Ang gaganda ng kanilang mga ginawang zine. So ipe-present at share din namin ito sa aming Office of Gender Concerns official Facebook page. No? Kasi marami rin tayo dong matututunan. Very innovative at creative yung ating mga estudyante at yung mga entries. At hello uli sa mga bahaghari e-advocates na nandito. Thank you for coming at more activities for us. Sige, magkaroon tayo ng separate Zoom meeting siguro in the next few weeks. Sige. May I ask or request our colleagues to share the PowerPoint presentation? So una sa lahat, we did rapid sectoral consultation, lalo na sa mga internal stakeholders natin po dito sa UPOU. Kasi sakto 10 years na ang OGC. So maganda siguro makapagtanong kung ano yung nakikita nilang effects and impact at ano yung mga pwede pa nating ma-improve, no? Though this was done rapidly, tapos marami ring nangyari in between kasi yun nga, binagyo tayo dito sa Luzon at iba pa. So may mga naging concerns tayo, pero ito, nabuo natin itong results. I would also like to take the opportunity to acknowledge our fieldwork students of social work who drafted this a PowerPoint presentation and even the data analysis. So si Evangeline Malikdem, who is here, and I think Roberto Lopez Eugenio Jr. is also here, if tama ako. Maraming salamat sa inyo dito sa ginawa nyo. So let me share with you some of the insights that we gathered from this survey. Next slide, please. So we asked some questions like this one. What do we think? What do our participants of the survey think of as the most useful or impactful GAD policy program or initiative? Hindi necessarily to OGC-led lang, no? Pero yung kabuang GAD initiative sa university, sa UPOU. Again, internal stakeholders natin to faculty, staff, and students yung ating mga sinurvey dito. So ang pinaka remarkable na nilagay nila dito ay yung gender-based policies such as on VAUSI or violence against women and their children, and yung pag-value at pag-respect sa mga women, no? Ito yung number one na though this is an open-ended question, but kumbaga pinagsama-sama natin yung mga sagot, and this has been one of the this is the most identified na answer. And then kasunod doon yung Women's Month celebration natin, which is actually one of our major events talaga year in, year out. Women's Month celebration, tatlo lagi yan. Women's Month celebration, June Pride Month, and the 18-day campaign, which will happen soon, no? So we appreciate that people appreciate one of this, no, yung Women's Month celebration, plus yung mga kasunod na nabanggit, no? Ayun nga, so ito yung mga very na nabanggit ng mga participants natin. Kasama na rin dito yung mga advocacy forum natin like this one, webinars, at yung pag-ensure natin ng recognition ng vital roles ng mga kababaihan dito. Mamaya sa mga susunod, merong parang kasunod dito. Sige, next slide please. So, nagtanong din tayo kasi kung merong most impactful or useful, tinanong din namin what do they think is the least useful sa mga ginawa natin. Actually, yung majority sa kanila sinabi wala. Walang least useful, no? Ibig sabihin they find most of the things that we do or all ay useful, no? Sabi dito, all activities were conducted well as narrated or answered kasi open-ended ulito na tanong. Lahat ay naisagawa ng maayos, kumbaga. Pero may suggestion sila which is mauulit din in a while kasi nag-ask kami in terms of suggestion. Pero mabanggit ko na lang din ito na sana daw ay mayroong mga specific topics like transgender at yung sa mga adolescents, no, teens. Mamaya mas lay down pa natin ito ng buo. And then yun nga, in general, all the activities were found useful by our respondents. Sige, next slide please. And then tinanong din namin kung ano yung mga God-related concerns nila individually and even as an organization based on their perceptions which they think need intervention, mapa-law man yan, a specific program, policy, etc. no. So medyo marami ditoong nabanggit, though ayan, samot-sari yung nailabas dito, yung iba hindi gender-based pero maganda rin siyang input for us. At maibibigay siya, mare-refer siya sa mga appropriate na units natin. So sabi dito, pagpatuloy pa yung more gender-based activities, gaya ng binanggit. And then yung promote pa lalo ng gender-based rights and respect. Ito ay mas phrase in a way na wag lang mag-focus sa kababaihan, no? Isali pati yung mga kalalakihan as very much aligned with one of the questions kanina. At maganda rin na isa na to sa mga nasisimulan na din natin, hindi naman natin nakakalimutan. So, kumbaga nagiging consistent yung ating efforts at yung perceptions din ng ating mga constituents, no? And then, ito nga yung binanggit ko, nagsabi sila ng mga specific din na mga suggestions which will be again reinforced in a while pag nandun na tayo sa suggestions. Like nagsabi sila ng specific topics for activities like on parenting, sakto doon sa binanggit ni Dr. Rita rin kanina to dwell more on parenting. Sakto din at meron din naman tayong mga module on gender responsive parenting, on mental health din. And then feedback on students' output na siguro in terms of gender integration, no? And may nagbanggit about salary raise. Again, I guess hindi ito gender focus or hindi siya pasok dun sa aming mandate, but again we respect the answer kaya nilagay namin siya dito, hindi namin siya tinanggal. And we will just refer this to the appropriate unit. So yun, at in general mayroong hindi sumagot nito kasi wala daw silang nakikitang any concern that may need intervention. Sige, next slide. Tapos ano pa yung mga pwede nilang suggestions so that the OGC and our GAD activities or initiatives in the university can be more responsive. Again, meron silang mga binanggit na remark or comment to answer this question like mabilis namang umaksyon o some yung pag-aksyon o awesome ang OGC or ang GAD program natin. So kaya yun yung nakalagay. And then nothing ought to be done or improve as mentioned. So binabasa ko lang po to. Again, open-ended po itong mga questions na to para freely po yung pagsagot nila. And then, gaya ng binanggit po namin kanina, yung phrasing na more gender programs, but focusing or phrase na all genders at hindi lang babae ang ini-include and even yung women's rights lang ang kasama. So all rights of people na gender rights siguro ang gustong mabanggit nito ay kasama, no? Lalong tugunan, kasama doon yung sa kalalakihan. Tapos meron din ditong specific on SOGSC trainings. We're happy na marami na rin tayong nagagawa dito, lalo na kapag June Pride Month celebration. No? At kasama rin ito sa ating GST program, no? Yung pag-include sa SOGSC. Tapos meron din dito na ilang mga specific suggestion pa like yung pagkakaroon ng fair responses to complaints. Kasi syempre tayo yung tumatanggap ng any reports or complaints may patungkol sa gender-based. So a reminder for us to be more fair, of course. But maganda rin mabanggit na sa term ko as director, wala pang complaint na napapapunta sa formal pathway. So, hindi siya, ibig sabihin hindi siya nag-undergo nung kailangan ng hearing pool talaga based on our anti-sexual harassment code, no? So, puro kami sa OGC at sa anti-sexual harassment, yun, personal namin yung nag-handle pa nito. And we really try our best, no? To be very fair naman, no? Based on what I know is fair. And then, yung nakalagay dito, maganda itong mapag-usapan, employees protection. pagpo-provide ng more facilities, parenting discussion for UPOU employees. Sakto to dun sa mga initial na nating ginawa on breastfeeding mothers, which we intend to expand it with our parents in general, kasama yung male, no? Alam ko isa ito sa mga inilambing natin sa mga field workers natin na gawan ng proposal for programs din. Tapos meron din dito particular intervention sa parenting for those with teenage children. Ayan, sakto. Matututo rin ako dito kasi meron na ako nito. Kuha tayo ng help mula sa mga partners din natin on this and inviting more students in events that are intended for them. Maganda to kasi lalo meron na tayong mga student organizations and of course our University Student Council as well. We're very much in touch with them naman at kasama rin sila sa mga structures natin whenever it is required, no? So importante na remind din tayo nito. Very good to na nabanggit. Okay. So sige po, next slide. So in general, ano ang rating ng mga respondents natin? Though alam ko medyo maliit yung naging turnout po natin ng sumagot, but we tried our best to get as much responses as possible. So most of them answered with a rating of 5, and then 4, and then merong 3. Tapos yun, in general, they had a good impression about the OGC and the university's full GAD program. So ano yung mga specific lang na mga implications which we think are very much ano rin sa will inform the directions of our of the OGC and GAD program, lalo na magsasabit na ulit tayo ng gender plan and budget for 2025 as well, no? Maganda rin ito na mailahad. Next slide, please. So yun, gana nabanggit, we need to broaden the scope for gender inclusivity. So nabanggit na natin yun, plus yung specific topics din sa kasama doon yung mga most vulnerable sectors, pati children. Nabanggit about LGBTQIA plus yung sa men nga, no? Welfare of employees, siguro kung gendered office ito, so yung may kinalaman sa gender issues, no? Tapos yun, nabanggit na about teenage children. Sige, next slide po. And then age-responsive initiatives, kasama rin dito na yung para sa mga older employees natin, yung work-life balance, career and family planning, sakto, gaya na binanggit namin kanina. So magandang ma-input natin ito, lalo sa ngayon. Pati yung pag-ensure din na meron tayong pang-younger generation o pang-younger respondents, pang-younger population, no? Though sa UPOU kasi, dahil kakunti rin yung undergrad programs natin, pero ang undergrad natin dahil sa K-12, usually hindi na sila children, 17 or 18 years old na sila. So wala talaga tayo na 15 or below unless they are from our communities or anak sila ng ating employees, yan, or students. So yun. So tingnan natin how we can capture that siguro sa non-formal course or MOOC. Let's see. Sige. Next slide. And then yung sa atin sa OGC to continue our role performance and responsiveness, gaya na nabanggit na isagawa naman daw lahat ng activity. Tapos again, yung pag-include pa ng more topics, tapos pagsasama ng mga ordinary employees, ito galing ito sa words nila, pangkaraniwang empleyado, no? So in Filipino yung binanggit, tapos pati yung pag-handle ng students' concerns na may kinalaman sa gender. Tapos, meron ding binanggit dito about offering interactive workshops, accessible online resources, sakto, at meron naman marami tayong sinasagawa at kinreate na open educational resources through our UPOU networks, sa MOOC, GST natin, at sakto meron tayong ang binuong e-Gadvocates, no? So, magandang mga platforms to. And then, again, yung pag-include sa men sa mga activities natin. Next slide po. And then yun nga, pag-expand ng reach to more students and faculty members with targeted and intentional, no, na purpose, being informed dun sa mga specific suggestions na nabanggit kanina. Like yung mga pang-student organizations, faculty partnerships. Ayan. Maganda din na nare-remind din tayo lagi kasi all our major activities yung tatlong nabanggit ko kanina, Women's Month, June Pride, tsaka 18-Day Campaign are usually in collaboration with our other units, no? Hindi naman OGC din lang yung nagsasagawa nun. Pero it's good na to get reminded about this all the time, especially sa students natin, students' participation being the major stakeholder and clients natin sa university. And next slide, I think this will be the last. Yon nga, pag-expand pa ng participation ng all sectors, no? For parents, ayan, though yun nga, in general, exemplary performance yung ni-rate sa atin. Ang balak rin po namin dito, siguro magsagawa pa kami ng more survey and other methods to really maximize po yung opportunities na marinig din po talaga yung voices po ng ating constituents. But we love hearing, not because exemplary yung nilagay nila, but we love listening to the suggestions. No? Although for each activity na meron tayo like this one, pinasasagot po namin kayo lagi ng evaluation. Nakapalit ng certificate, pero maganda rin napapakita yung kabuuan ng mga programs natin, especially given this milestone na 10th year anniversary po natin. So sa mga kasunod na PowerPoint, di ko na lang po ipapakita in the interest of time. Nandiyan po yung mga profile ng ating respondents for this survey. So again, konti po yung na-generate po natin na participants, though marami po dyan ay representative din po. Most of this are representative din po ng iba't ibang sector natin, faculty, students, lalo ang ground personnel. We love na naririnig po ang mga ground personnel natin. So yun po, more to come, lalo papalapit po yung 18-day campaign natin sa last week of November until second week of December. So yun po yung mga kailangan nating abangan, and please rest assured that we will be including all your suggestions doon po sa gagawin naming mga next activities at sa binubuo po nating God plan and budget sa susunod na mga taon. I mean, for the next year, for my term, no? Kasi kami pa po yung gagawa for 2024 as a suggestion for the kung sino man po yung sa next term po ng ating OGC. So maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakikiisa sa amin. This is not a closing remark, pero gusto ko lang mabanggit as a closing doon sa pag-present po namin ng result po ng sectoral consultation. We love hearing from you. Please feel free to communicate to us in any of the platform that we use, sa OGC Facebook page, kahit po sa Messenger, and then email address namin, and even doon sa aming platform for reporting complaint, at syempre face-to-face or kahit tawag po sa aming landline. So maraming salamat po uli, and nga pala, I'm also giving also due recognition sa ating mga staff who talagang passionately are with us in all the endeavors that we do. Ngayon, ang meron tayo si Denise at si Danny. Maraming salamat sa efforts natin. At syempre, marami na rin pong nagdaang mga research associates tayo, project staff sa loob ng 10 taon. And of course, the university in general, headed by our chancellor, who is also the chair of the EXICOM and chair of the Gender Focal Point System, and all the unit heads. And of course, our budget officer. Biglang ganun, no? Kasi this will not be done, all the activities that we do. Hindi lang naman po OGC to, it's the whole university program po ito. So we thank you in all these endeavors and in your participation. Back to you, Denise. Thank you.
Thank you po, Doc Fina. And now, to conclude our program, let us welcome UPOU's Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Primo Garcia.
Thank you, Denise. To our guest speakers, UPOU officials, UPOU faculty members, staff, students, online viewers, good morning. Thank you all for attending today's webinar on Forum on Emerging Gender and Women's Issues in Asia, Opportunities for Research and Intervention. Before I proceed, allow me to congratulate the Office of Gender Concerns on your 10 years of championing gender equality and inclusion in UPOU and beyond. Congratulations also on the official launch of the Baghari e-Gadvocates. The creation of OGC 10 years ago indicates that gender equality and inclusion are important to UPOU. As an open and distance e-learning institution, UPOU aims to provide accessible, flexible, and inclusive learning for all. As part of UP, we work to create environments that embrace diversity, uphold fairness and respect, and enhance educational quality to meet the needs of our diverse learners. We have learned today that research on gender can reveal barriers unique to non-traditional settings, such as disparities in participation, resource access, and digital interaction. This insight supports policies for equitable success, while inclusive teaching practices and gender diverse content enhance student representation, engagement, and outcomes. As a leader in open and distance e-learning, UPOU is uniquely positioned to explore how gender dynamics intersect with and beyond the digital platforms. We recognize that digital access, online safety, women's health, and representation impacts women significantly. That's why UPOU is committed to research that not only identifies these issues, but also drives practical solutions for a safe, inclusive, and empowering digital space for all. Through rigorous and ethical research, UPOU shall contribute to national and global discussions on gender, ensuring that women's voices and experiences are recognized and valued. We hope to do more research that examines how gender intersects with other factors in shaping education, offering insights that inform policies and practices for greater equity and inclusion. Before we close, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Finaflor Thailand, the Center Director or Office Director, and the UPO Office of Gender Concerned staff for organizing this important activity. Their dedication to promoting gender awareness, equality, and inclusion within our university community has been instrumental in bringing us all together today. We wish you all the best as you continue to break new grounds in gender mainstreaming and development in the coming years. As we conclude today's session, let's carry forward a commitment to embedding gender equality and inclusion in everyday aspect of our work. Through research, instruction, and policy making, each of us can help shape an open university that reflects and serves the diversity of our global community of learners. Thank you again for being a part of this important conversation. Muli maraming salamat po at magandang araw sa ating lahat.
Thank you po, VC Prime. As we cap off the OGC's 10th anniversary celebration, let us be reminded that this celebration and activities for gender equality, gender mainstreaming, and women's empowerment should not be done this month alone, but the rest of the year, as gender issues happen every day, necessitating our daily commitment to act and respond. Before we leave, may we request everyone to answer a short event evaluation form, which you can access through the QR code and link flashed on your screen. We would appreciate your feedback on how today's event transpired. My colleague will also be sharing the link on the chat box. You will also receive an e-certificate only after completing the evaluation form. Once again, I am Denise Palisok, and this has been the OGC at 10 closing program, Gender Equality Matters, or GEM Forum, Emerging Gender and Women's Issues in Asia, Opportunities for Research and Intervention. Thank you!